Greetings. We're going to do a quick tutorial on how to report creatures using SWGAide. It's fairly straightforward. First things first, we're going to do this manually, so we'll use the Submit Resources tab. One thing to note in here, if you right click in this area, there's an option to allow non-harvestable. This is a personal preference. I keep mine checked because I like to report everything. I guess I'm kind of a masochist that way, but you don't have to if you don't want to. What this means is there are certain creatures that are available via a resource crate, but they don't actually spawn, or rather they aren't actually harvestable by natural methods. This is an SOE thing. So I go ahead and report these just in case there's some uber, resource that's there, even though it's only accessible by a crate. But hey, why not? If it's there, we can drop some creds and buy a crate and get this uber thing. Anyway, personal preference, so you don't have to have that on. Alright, next thing we're going to look at is the filter. There are three creature types. There's food, resources, and structural. What resources does is combines both food and structural. I usually just do all of it, so resources, creature resources, all of them. The age, this is a filter on the age of the resource. I usually leave it to default 6 days. I don't want to look at something that's 3 days old because it's likely still going to be in spawn. Something else to note, there can only ever be one creature resource in spawn at any given time per class, right? So like a Corellian woolly hide, there will only ever be one of those in spawn at any given time. So that's what makes this work. What we're going to do is we're going to click this right to rim.txt, and since I do these on a daily basis, it's never going to be empty. I always hit erase, just start from scratch. If you're doing other things, you can append if you want, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to erase it, start from scratch. At this point, the rim.txt is going to be in game. So let's go to the game, and in the chat we'll type note rim. This opens the notes file. As you can see, all these creature resources are over 6 days old. Now looking at the top, on the left column, that's the name of the resource. The middle is the class, so here we got a Corellian domesticated milk, and then the age, 13 days. And so on and so forth. So you can see like the next one's 11 days old, the next one's 10 days old, the next one's 13 days old. Okay? We won't worry about all this instructional stuff at the top because this is going to be more for non-creature related stuff, because we're going to do it in a different way than we would normal resources. Like we can still do manual submissions here for like minerals and stuff like that, where we would manually deplete it and manually put in the planets that they're on and blah blah blah. But for the purposes of this, creatures, it's fairly straightforward. So the next step, we have a crate. Alright, creatures are always going to be organic, creature resources, and if you notice, there's food and structural. Structural is going to be where like the bones and hide and all that stuff is. Food is going to be anything else, milk, meat. The thing about the notes file, it's in order as they would appear in the crate. So food is always going to be at the top, and as you scroll down, somewhere down here, there's where the bones start. So that'd be your structural. So it cascades, so it's like this throughout. So we'll go to food, milk, and we're at domesticated, Corellian. Now here's the thing about, if you don't already know this, all resources in the crate, the oldest is going to be at the top, newest at the bottom. So this is how we check creatures. As we can see, this guy is here. There's one below it, so there's a new one. That means it's done, because there's a new one at the bottom here. I'm not even going to pretend to try and pronounce that, but So what we do is we'll go ahead and pull up the new one, which is at the very bottom, so we can't go down any farther, right? So that's the newest one, and it's a guaranteed in spawn because it's a creature resource, right? So we go over here. All we have to do is clear this name out and carefully type the name of the new resource in, right? And then we go to the end of that line, we clear the age, and we just start typing stats. 173, 331, 588, 932. Now you notice I'm just using spaces. You can use commas if you prefer. It's just whatever style. For me, it's faster just to use spaces. Aid will pick up on either as a delimiter, so no problem. Alright, so we have that line done. Now, what Craft will do, SWG Craft, when we submit this new resource, it will automatically despawn the old one, because like I said before, only one creature resource can be in spawn at any given time. So we don't have to worry about depleting, manually depleting any of this stuff. All we have to do is replace the name and the stats, and Aid submits it, and Craft takes care of the rest. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Dathmirian. Go to the bottom, and we can see a new one has spawned, so that Dogak, whatever it is, that's done. So we'll clear him out. Bye-bye. Kiatchaf, and I like to sound this stuff out because I'm very much a verbal person. So 318, 485, 310. It helps me focus, because this stuff, it's easy to get distracted. I get people that send me in-game tells and I don't respond. They think I'm being a butthead because I'm ignoring them, but I'm just doing a resource update. I can't be bothered. So, alright. So, Lokian, whatever that's called, as we can see, it's at the very bottom. So that's still in spawn. Okay. Nabuian, same thing. That is still in spawn. Okay, so we'll just go down to the next. Rory. That's still in spawn, because it's at the very bottom. It's the most recent. Now, if you want to, you can clear these out. Just delete them if you want. You don't have to. You can leave them as is. Aid will totally ignore it, because it recognizes it as, hey, that's still in spawn, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But you can, if you want to make the notes file prettier as you go, you can most certainly just delete that if you want. It's no big deal. I sometimes do that if I'm doing a really huge, like this long, see how long this list is. As I go, sometimes I will go ahead and just clear the ones that are still in spawn, so it makes it easier to come back if I get distracted and need to start back over, right? So anyway, let's keep going back down this list. Tatooine, Athma, yeah, still there. And Kashyyykian, that's still there. Alright. Alright, I'm just gonna stop here. We could go all the way down this list and do all of these, but for brevity and just an example of the tutorial, I'm gonna stop here, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and clear out of this crate. Okay. And as most of you know, these notes files, you have to click the little X to actually save it, or you'll never see it outside of the game. So, click the little X, that saves it. Now we will go back to Aid, and inside here we'll do a load from rim text, right? We're going to click this, and it's going to give a pop-up on what galaxy to use. Always, if you're using Legends, click Legends, And here it's loaded the two resources that we updated in-game. And as you can see, it's parsed it. Everything looks good. If we would have messed up anywhere in here, it would, these lines would be red, and we could correct it up here if needed, right? Just select it and correct it. But they're okay. So all we have to do at this point is hit submit. Bang, bang. And there they are. We just submitted two new milks. We're all done. We can clear it. go back over here to the current resources tab, and you can see they're both there, and they're both highlighted in this kind of a bluish gray. That's because they're not possible to harvest. The figures, right? The two that we did were just crate resources, but they're there. They've been submitted, and in a nutshell, that is how you do creature resources using SWGAide. Have fun.